14 by knockout, opposite of 1 defeat. Representing Caracas, Venezuela, here is Michell El Arsenal Banquez. And now introducing his opponent across the ring in the blue corner, wearing the Mexican colors, he weighed in at 118 pounds. With 20 victories, including 10 by knockout, opposite of just 1 defeat. Fighting out of San Antonio, Texas, by way of Monterrey, Nuevo León, Mexico, here is Ramón Dinamita Cardenas. Once again, the referee in charge of the action is John Shorley.
Okay, guys, expect a good clean fight from both of you. Obey my commands, protect yourselves at all times. First look.
Michell Banquez, fighting out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida these days. Caracas, Venezuela, his home. Spent some time in Colombia in his youth. See him there in the black gloves, the blue trunks with yellow trim. And his opponent, San Antonio's own Ramón Cardenas. Here we go in round 1. 10 rounds at the 118-pound division. John Shorley, your referee. Both fighters looking to set up and establish that jab early on. So you see a nice aerial view of the action. Good stiff jab from Cardenas. Really looking to establish himself early. Got a nice rat tail going on in the back. A little sartorial splendor on the hair from Ramón Cardenas. Yeah, I'm talking about Lucas Matisse, famously known for the rat tail. Yeah, I'm talking about Kermit Larinaga, famously known for the rat tail. Let's see if Ramón Cardenas can pull that off. On the same level, good leaping left hook to get off early. No last-minute opponent filling in this one. These two very evenly matched, identical 20-1 records. You're seeing that early, although Cardenas in the red shoes, colors of the Mexican flag on his trunks, definitely the aggressor early on. Good right hand to the body from Cardenas. Seeing wildly on the left hook. Coming back to the body is Cardenas. Banquez very poised, patient at the start, trying to pick up the rhythms of his opponent, looking to counter. But so far, nearly all the way through round 1, the story has been the jab of Cardenas. And the rat tail, by the way. Big fan. Left hook, right hand combination. Cardenas dictating the pace, but as you can see, not afraid to go inside and trade. This is also Banquez's first successful combination, working the body, going upstairs with the left hand. Both fighters well comfortable to trade on the inside here as Banquez starting to let his hands go. Difference really is Banquez pawing with that jab where Cardenas letting it go with a rhythm and with some electricity. 1 round in the books.
Get
Cardenas ranked number 5 in the WBA at 118 pounds. Never been down as a pro or amateur. A very good first round for Cardenas, although you have to love sort of the spiciness of Banquez to come back, let his hands go in close to close that round, gain some respect as he's doing right off the start with a lead left hook. One thing Banquez is doing well is he's the more physical fighter right now. Stepping into his jab more, but very comfortable on the inside. Pushing, whatever he can get away with, pushing Cardenas. Banquez at 32 years old. Has only been a pro for 6 years, but had a long and decorated amateur career in Venezuela before that pro debut. Fought 18 times in his native nation. Good body shot there to end the 3-punch combination. Wild right hand as Cardenas picked that one up. Got out of the way, but Banquez fighting much more crude than the first round, but it's working as he's backing Cardenas up to the corner. But back to Banquez being a world traveler. Fought 18 times in Venezuela. 1 each in the U.S., Saudi Arabia, and Chile. His first time fighting, though, in Cardenas' backyard of San Antonio. But round 2, Banquez bringing the fight to the native son. Banquez telegraphing that right hand heavily, but it's getting off inside. The left hook from Cardenas to gain back a little bit of that respect. Like, you wear a rat tail to the ring, you better be able to fight on the inside, and I'm not doubting Cardenas' want or ability to do that, but Banquez getting the better of these exchanges, even if it's coming in a much more crude fashion. Good right hand as he continues to walk Cardenas back. Also like that the Venezuelan mixing it up to the body just the same. Squaring up a lot. I mentioned some of that, those crude elements of his game, but it's working. Banquez trained by Luis Perez in the same gym in Fort Lauderdale, Contenders boxing gym that produced former unified junior middleweight world champion Jason Banana Rosario. The jab is going to have to be a part of Cardenas' offense to keep the aggressive foe off of him. Very good round 2 for Michell Banquez. Good action here through 2 in this 10-round preliminary feature bout here on the Showtime Championship Boxing Prelims Countdown Show. I am Brian Campbell, your captain, taking you through here as we look into the corner of one Ramón Cardenas. I know what you're thinking. Can you also pull off that hairstyle? It's worth a try. Dennis getting instructions from his trainer, Jose Martinez. He also has Adam Lopez in his corner as a chief second. May remember that name, a veteran of the super bantamweight division. Last fought in 2020. Round 3 between Ramón Cardenas and the white gloves. But an aggressive Michell Banquez in the black gloves, continuing to push the pace. Something he saw there in round 2 he liked, looking to back his opponent up. When Banquez uses his jab as a weapon rather than a pawing rangefinder, you see the difference in his success right there. He's also mixing in body shots well. Fighting on the road, opponent's backyard, but he's taking the fight to Cardenas. Cardenas was quoted as saying ahead of this fight that he doesn't consider himself to have a style. His style is adjusting to whatever his opponent brings to the table. See if Cardenas can make those adjustments after a successful round 2 for Banquez. It's going to probably begin and end with that jab, which he's working hard to reestablish this round. When we talk about the Alamodome, which I mentioned opened in 1993, has there been a bigger fight in there than the Showtime pay-per-view? Julio Cesar Chavez and Pernell Whitaker fighting to that very, very disputed draw in 1994? I would say no, of course. Although we've seen Canelo Alvarez in 2013 unify 154-pound titles against Austin Trout in this same building. Seen the NBA San Antonio Spurs once call that building home for 10 years. Action slowing just a bit. Cardenas using distance much better in this round. Good right hand over the top to surprise Banquez. Good level change there from Banquez. Feint the jab, but come right back with the right cross to the body. This is where he wants to be, Banquez, putting Cardenas on the ropes, but he's going to have to score in these situations to get that edge from the 3 judges sitting ringside should this one go the full 10-round distance. Same record as I mentioned, 20-1 for both fighters. Banquez the advantage in finishes at 14-10 for Cardenas. But this is the distance Cardenas wants to be. It's the distance he needs to be. Working that jab from the outside to put a nice bow on round 3. Action here through 3 rounds in this bantamweight preliminary feature bout. Of course, we were just a few minutes removed from a heck of an opening statement from Speedy Rashidi Ellis, ending a nearly 2-year layoff and making his PBC debut a successful one, but blowing out Jose Marufo in round 1. 2 knockdowns before the stoppage at 2 minutes and 8 seconds standing. A heck of a comeback performance there from Ellis. It may be expected with the level of competition, but you still got to get in there and shake off the rust. And how about a showcase like that to show the 147 and 154-pound contenders that he's here. He's ready to do big business at age 29. But round 4 of this bantamweight featured bout, you see the aggressive Banquez and the black gloves leaping left hook to start things off. Of course, the same division saw Nonito Donaire, the aforementioned Filipino legend, use 2021 as his renaissance year to come back, win a world title at 118, score a pair of knockouts. But then he entered earlier this year into that rematch with the Japanese monster, Naoya Inoue. Didn't go like the first one, as Inoue getting the early and devastating stoppage. Just a few years removed from the two of them co-authoring not only the fight of the year a couple years back, but really one of the modern classics in terms of all action fights. Good pace here in round 4, though, as Banquez, this is where he wants to be. Pushing Cardenas to the ropes, getting off to the body, mixing in power shots upstairs. He's a much different fighter at close range than he is trying to catch up to Cardenas' jab. Left hook to the body again from Banquez. That matters to the judges when you're the fighter who's not only coming forward, but you're visibly moving your opponent to the body as Banquez is. It's going to get the attention, but left hook from Cardenas to show that he's still in this. A 10-round fight, these early body shots can certainly pay big dividends late, and Banquez not cheapening out. He was very poised in that opening round, but we saw that flurry he broke out in the final 30 seconds. He's continued that action here throughout most of this. Maybe the third round was a little bit more in Cardenas' favor with the jab, but when Banquez can get in at this range, even if he's not landing flush, it's the optics of what you're showing. He's at least to the naked eye seemingly doubling the output of Cardenas, and boy, is he also landing. A good performance here early on from Venezuela's Michell Banquez. Referee John Shorley warning Banquez there for hitting to the back of the head. Final 10 seconds of round 4. Dennis doing a better job fighting his way out of trouble a bit. Good stiff jab to put a little bit of an exclamation point on his attempt at a comeback. 4 rounds complete. This has been a very competitive one. Could it be 2-2? Could it be 3-1? Banquez, it's going to be interesting to see how those judges have it as you're looking into the corner of Ramón Cardenas. And there's Michell Banquez. Luis Perez, his trainer. Tell you what, Banquez living up to the nickname he goes by, El Arsenal, given to him by his sister before his pro debut. He said he wanted a nickname that wasn't boring, something that really told his opponent the kind of offense he's going to bring, and he's broken out that arsenal so far through 4 rounds, getting off early as the aggressor here in round 5. A little bit crude, a little bit telegraphed, but Banquez landing with these shots. Good counter jabs there, though, from Cardenas to get himself out of the corner. And if you're Team Cardenas, you're going to have to get him off of those ropes, off of the corners. Any situation where Miguel Banquez can keep Cardenas stationary, he's able to chip away with power shots, hooks to the body. Trench warfare here as they both dig to the body as the action spills into the center of the ring. Good combination from Banquez. Again, even when he's not landing clean, he is the one consistently getting off first. Good uppercut on the inside from Banquez. Neither fighter able to hurt the other, at least in visible form, to change the momentum of this fight. Although once Banquez committed to this El Arsenal style, you have seen potential advantages in the two-way exchanges going his way. Another good combination from Banquez inside. He's married. He's the father of an 8-year-old son, 32 years old. Banquez, look at that short right hand. He can telegraph it at times, but he can sneak it in. A laser beam and a double uppercut on the inside. Cardenas had established that jab in the first round, brought it back in the third round, hasn't used a whole lot of it in the times in between and around that. Lead left hook again for Banquez. power looks a little bit more thudding than sort of the one-punch variety, but it tends to add up, as you can see. Left hook from Cardenas there as they exchange at the same time. That got his corner fired up. Could it be, though, another round for Michell Banquez? 5 rounds in the book, halfway through this 10-round bantamweight preliminary feature bout. Of course, this is just the appetizer for what goes down. 9 p.m. Eastern tonight, Showtime, the only place you can find it. A triple header. You want to get a taste of the action for free? How about go to Showtime.com right now. Start your 30-day free trial. Give it a test drive. Will you be disappointed? Probably not. Mark Magsayo defending his WBC featherweight championship in the main event against fellow unbeaten Ray Vargas. It's the Philippines versus Mexico, of course, a classic boxing rivalry. Talked about that lineage there of Magsayo. Grew up a Pacquiao fan, now trained by Manny Pacquiao's Hall of Fame trainer, Freddie Roach, the Wild Card Gym. And we know he's got that fan base behind him. See what happens tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern. Back to round 6 as we enter the second half of this bantamweight tilt. 10 rounds. Ramón Cardenas in the white gloves, with a much more aggressive Michell Banquez in the black gloves, blue trunks. It's been pressure fighting. It's been squaring up at times, threatening a stance switch, but the thudding shots have gotten through. It's almost as if Cardenas cannot figure out, do I want to box this guy? Do I want to stand and trade with him? When he has boxed and used distance behind that jab, he has found success, but at this range, it has been all Banquez. For the most part, of course, you can see Cardenas mixing in some counter shots here and there, but it's typically 1 for every 2, 3, 4 that Banquez is throwing, cutting off the ring well. And when Banquez does commit to that jab and step into it, you can see the power behind it. A little bit of a half jab, lead half left hook there for Banquez. Right hand inside from Banquez. This is his pace. These are his terms. That's really the right call here. These are the terms that Michell Banquez wants. If I'm Team Cardenas, I am watching out for that right uppercut that Banquez is consistently timing. Good power shots from Cardenas coming out of the corner there. Bouncing on his toes. The inevitability seems to be he ends up with his back to the turnbuckle. You can see those judges watching closely. Much more active in this defensive posture, though, Cardenas, meaning defensive because he's backed up. Doing a much better job this round of at least fighting his way out of unfavorable situations. Banquez's uncle, his younger brother, both amateur boxers in his native Venezuela, but he's the first of the family to turn pro. And when he can fight on these terms, you can see the success. Pretty even round, though, overall. Very interested to see how these rounds end up scoring. 6 in the book of this 10-round preliminary feature bout in the bantamweight division. We'd be seeing either of the winner of this fight taking the step up to the Showtime championship level. No shortage of big fights available at 118 pounds. Just the one loss for both coming in. from Michell Banquez. He lost a unanimous decision in 2018 to Miguel Gonzalez, but has riled off 7 consecutive wins since then. 32-year-old. For Cardenas, his lone loss came by majority decision, 10 rounds, to Danny Flores in 2017. But an 8-fight win streak for Cardenas has brought him into tonight's preliminary featured bout. Round 7 between bantamweights, and already you can see Banquez corralling the real estate that better fits his game. Although we've seen a more game Cardenas punching off the ropes. Good uppercut there from Cardenas. Keep mentioning the optics. You know, the judges have strike zones. We know this in boxing. We know the criteria. We also know there's preferences. Some judges like a guy who's pushing and pressing that action. If you're Cardenas, you've certainly had moments. But do you need a big moment of your own here to sway things in your direction? You do never know if it goes the distance until those scores are read. Both fighters fighting a very spirited pace here in round 7. Short chopping shots for Michell Banquez inside. Cardenas, the hometown fighter, not getting much of that advantage, though. At least not capitalizing on it. Banquez is jabbing to the chest. Can't see if the jab upstairs isn't there. He's just looking to land that, just trying to touch Cardenas, trying to hold him in place, keep him where he wants him. Very good ring generalship from Banquez, even if at times, as I mentioned, a little bit of a crude delivery, but it's working. The right hand from Cardenas to try to create some space. No better skill in boxing, if you're an aggressive fighter, than being able to cut off that ring. You don't want to follow your opponent. You want to lead your opponent into those corners, into those trouble zones. Win that footwork battle. And chop away at the tree. That's certainly what Banquez has tried to do, having good mixtures of success, however. Good flurry from Cardenas. Not much landing, though, but it was enough to get him out of that trouble position. Seven rounds complete. You can see that timer in the top left corner of your screen. Just a little bit over an hour until the start of the Showtime Championship Boxing Triple Header, 9 p.m. Eastern. Only on Showtime. We've got a nice spirited affair here at bantamweight. Certainly no championship rounds here in this 10-round affair, but we're entering into that area where it's go time. You want to win this fight, rounds 8, 9, 10, it is certainly go time. You can see the instructions being handed out by both corners. Sometimes it's skill, sometimes it's will. What will separate these two bantamweights as we enter the home stretch? Round 8 of 10. Michell Banquez in the blue trunks continuing, starting off each round with that burst. Not as clean with his shots as he was toward the middle of this fight. Certainly contesting it on his own terms. Good left hook to the body from Banquez. See a little bit more physicality from Cardenas in these moments. Clinch, push. anything to get his opponent off of him. Good counter left hand from Cardenas. Looping right hand there from Banquez. Seemed to partially hit the mark. Almost a Marcos Maidana-like corkscrew shot, excuse me. Who can forget the pair of Showtime pay-per-view bouts Maidana put on against the greatest Floyd Mayweather for walking off on his own terms into a retirement of sorts. Teased a couple comebacks there, Maidana, the Argentine legend, but never quite got back on the road. Probably enjoy the pressure that Michell Banquez is putting on, though. Left hooks land simultaneously from both fighters. Neither has really shown a tell, so to speak, in terms of anything that has landed shifting the momentum of the fight or visibly hurting them. Good physical infighting from Banquez, pushing Cardenas back, getting off those clubbing shots. It's a little bit of tough man, a little bit of street fight style in what Banquez is doing, but he's certainly mixing in the sweet science enough. This body shot from Cardenas. Look, he's game. He's willing on the inside. The question has to become, and we'll know that, of course, the answer when we hear these scorecards, if it goes the distance, was this the better game plan for Cardenas to fight on these terms? He's pushing back nicely here against Banquez for eating a flurry. Can't ask for much more from these two in terms of output, though, letting their hands go in the closing end of round 8. Good back and forth two-way action. Just 2 rounds to go in the bantamweight division. You see the backdrop, the Alamodome in San Antonio. Just a little bit over an hour till the start of the Showtime Championship Boxing triple header. Don't miss unbeaten lightweight Frank Martin. You may know his very famous trainer, Derek James, arguably the best trainer in the game today, maybe along with Eddie Reynoso of Team Canelo fame, but Derek James has Errol Spence Jr., he's got Jermel Charlo, he's got Frank Martin, the unbeaten lightweight. Well, you talk about a last-minute opponent change for him. He will not be facing Ricardo Nunez as originally scheduled. Nunez had visa issues, but Jackson Marinez, who just, 2 fights ago, most of us thought he had done enough to edge Rolly Romero. And by done enough, looked like he had done it widely to win the secondary title at 135. But he came up empty. A unanimous, controversial, but a unanimous decision. Marinez looking to bounce back from a pair of 2 elite defeats, taking on Frank Martin. But round 9 here in this bantamweight preliminary feature, and Banquez again. It's the same story every round. The first 30 seconds, backing Cardenas up. Has he been as effective in the second half of this fight? You can argue Cardenas has done much better work in the second half than he did in the first in terms of fighting out of trouble. But who would you rather be is sometimes the refrain you hear when judging close rounds. Cardenas busier here than we've seen. Good jab from Banquez, disguising it by looking down. And this is the infighting we're talking about. Banquez certainly much more skilled at this inside. A little bit leading with the forearms. There's a little bit of questionable stuff there. Referee John Shirley letting it go, but that's that physical infighting that works when you can pin your opponent back. Cardenas trying to fight his way out of trouble. You can hear the crowd starting to pick up. The corners of both urging their charges on. As this fight could be very much in the balance here in these final 2 rounds. Good Right-handed punching from Banquez. Boy, is he telegraphing those, but they're landing in some form. Banquez almost blinding Cardenas with those lead forearms before coming right back over the top with the right cross. We're in Texas, though. Texas Forever Street, you know. Sometimes things can be liberal on the boxing side of things there. Not as much pepper on that steak from Banquez, but those uppercuts are still landing. He's slowing down just a bit. Could be an opening for Cardenas should he step on that gas pedal and come on. Warning from referee John Shorley there finally for Banquez, who's not only telegraphing those right hands, but leading with that left forearm to sort of blatantly set them up. Left hand from Cardenas coming out of that crouch with the hook. It scores. Spirited affair through 9 rounds here at bantamweight. Will it be Michell Banquez or Ramón Cardenas? Both coming in with identical 20-1 records. Both looking to take a very important step forward in terms of positioning in the larger 118-pound title picture. And there's a good backstage shot of one Ray Vargas, 35-0, 22 KOs. The former 122-pound champion has moved up to featherweight. He's unnaturally large for this weight division in terms of height, reach, but he fights in a very complicated defensive boxing style. Can Mark Magsayo, in the first defense of his WBC featherweight title, lure Vargas into a fight? It's something both had talked about this week in the press conference. Did you see the instructions in this one? Round 10 between bantamweights about to begin. They touch gloves. And here we go. Who wants it? 3 minutes to potentially decide this one. Michell Banquez, as he's accustomed to doing this fight, coming out aggressive early. Left hook to the body, right hand over the top. Good flurry on the inside. Combination punching from Cardenas. Right in the center of the ring. Could put a phone booth in there, fit both of them. Trade right hands inside. Better work here for Cardenas than we've seen in some time. Could probably sense the urgency of needing to exit this fight with a big statement. The action has been close enough where you certainly can argue a potential close decision either way. And this is not about defense anymore. Both fighters just letting their hands go. A few miles per hour off of those fastballs, but they're not holding back. Good action in the center of the ring. Both getting off with right hands. Both fighting in the trenches. Banquez still relying on that forearm to kind of push off and set up room for that right hand. But Cardenas is plenty game to fight him on these terms. "70 seconds remaining in the 10th and final round." You can hear the crowd, you can hear the corners of both urging them on. Don't forget, Cardenas fighting in his backyard here of San Antonio, wearing the colors of the Mexican flag. He's coming on a bit here to start. The big right hand from Cardenas. Most meaningful shot of both fighters this fight. You can see it shook Banquez just enough. Cardenas feels there's an opening here. Can he close the show at home? Have to love the spirit of both of these fighters. Banquez trying to fight back. You can see he's still weathered from that one right hand that snapped his neck back. Does Cardenas have enough juice for the final 10 seconds? Here we go. Left hook from Cardenas. Flurry inside from Banquez, but not much on it. Nice 1-2 over the top from Cardenas to leave a final statement. They go the full distance in San Antonio. 10 rounds complete. This one, of course, now in the hands of the three judges sitting ringside. Both, but at least by their body language, seem to like their chances there as Michell Banquez goes back to his corner. If this was a close fight, which it very much could be, how much is that final round 10 from Ramón Cardenas, and particularly that big right hand? How much could that sway the judges? We're about to find out. Boy, Speedy Rashidi Ellis didn't give us much time to set up or deliver there as he took care of business in round one. But these two bantamweights both coming in with 20-1 records here in our Showtime Championship Boxing preliminary countdown show. Featured attraction. That was 10 fun rounds. Good two-way action. Both had their moments in terms of taking control of the fight. Did I like Banquez's work overall as the aggressor? I would say yes. But you have to understand, Cardenas countering nicely, sometimes off of those ropes. Did much better work in the second half than he did the first. Who will be handed just the second defeat of their 22-bout pro careers. It's going to be a busy summer, of course, as always, for Showtime Championship Boxing. We've got Danny Garcia, July 30th, Brooklyn, making his 154-pound debut against Jose Benavidez Jr. in the main event of a triple header. And how about Jake Paul, August 6th, Showtime pay-per-view, the Mecca, New York's Madison Square Garden. Supposed to be Tommy Fury for the 5-0 Jake Paul. The former sparring partner, the son of the former heavyweight champion, Hasim Rahman Jr., stepping in on late notice. They've had some dust-ups in the gym before. Who got the advantage? Both say them. We'll find out August 6th. But let's go to the decision.
We go to the judges' scorecards. Judges David Sutherland and Jesse Reyes both saw it 97-93. And Judge Ursulo Perez saw it 96-94. All three in agreement for your winner by unanimous decision, Ramón Dinamita.
And it goes to San Antonio's own Miguel Flores reading us the decision. It's Ramón Cardenas. May have had some moments that weren't favorable in his way in the mid-rounds of the fight as Michell Banquez put on the pressure. But who landed the cleaner shots laid? Who had the biggest moment of this fight in round 10 with that right hand? It was certainly Ramón Cardenas. 97-93 on two of the three judges' scorecards. 7 rounds to 3. And 96-94, 6 rounds to 4 on the third scorecard.